emphasize that this report was written at the beginning of the month.
I noticed that.
It hasn't been updated since then. But this is a report on June, which seems like a long time ago. We had great sunshine and warm temperatures for most of the month. It really did feel like summer. Several departments in June wrapped up seasonal program initiatives just in time to start working on operational and capital budgets for 2027. As reported at the board meeting held June 25th, good progress has been made on the rental registration program. As of Wednesday, July 8th, we have identified 222 properties as rentals. That count has raised to 223 since the beginning of the month. And you can see the status. We've cut those numbers in about half, so there are still about 20 people who have not returned any paperwork, and I think we're up to about 176 completed registrations out of the 222. Not surprisingly, a lot of the people who are renting their properties are traveling. Duh. And so as they come back and pick up either an email or one of our letters, they're getting in touch with us, so slowly but surely it's getting knocked around. Of course, as everyone is aware, we are offering swim lessons and water aerobics. They're being run by the Y in a partnership with us. We give them a location, but they run the programs. We have about half the people that we've had in previous years sign up for swim lessons. So I'm not sure if we're running out of children who need to learn how to swim, or something else is an issue, but registrations are way down this year. And water aerobics is very, very, very popular. I think we're up to more than 20 people now, and that last one has to add another lane.
Is there a charge for residents for water aerobics?
Yeah, because it's run by the Y. So.
I think there's a split in the fees that are paid. I think part of it comes back to the
Our
value.
policy is we get 10% of their revenues, and but there's no additional charge. If non-members want to do swim lessons, they also have to buy a pool pass.
Yep.
Anyway. I would have announced at the beginning of the month, however, we canceled that meeting, that the presentation of results for the 2026 community survey will be held on Thursday, July 30th. At 6:30, the presentation will take place in the dance barn, et cetera, et cetera. I've said all of that. The first meeting in July of the Long Range Planning Committee, I think, is when they said, or we decided that that's when it was going to happen, and so I didn't have it in time to put into the July newspaper.
Oh, we need to put out a whole bunch of e-blasts,
Yeah, well, it'll be-
repeatedly, day after day.
The next part of the report is an update of the capital project status. You can see listed in the chart there, everything that's been obligated and what the status is. On the Austin Creek bank repair, we're waiting for feedback from Whatcom County before finalizing the design. The clubhouse HVAC work was completed, the system is working. It was actually completed with less time than we anticipated, so there was even less disruption to operations, which was awesome. The marina tennis court refurbishment permit applications were submitted. We have a project award, but the timing is dependent on when the permit is issued. We did get feedback from the county where we got it verbally, we haven't gotten the notes, that we're gonna have to do a full shoreline permit, and that will take a bit of time, so the tennis court probably won't happen until next year.
That's too bad.
We had the same feedback for the off-leash dog park fence, so we're regrouping and getting ready to submit the full shoreline permit application. Again, marina playground work is going forward on that. We'll have to have a pre-application meeting with the county and we'll get their feedback. Similarly on Barn 6, design is expected to be completed in July or August, and then again we'll make our submission to the county. The clubhouse renovations on the old administrative space, work will begin in August and will be completed in the first part of September. We're just waiting for the doors to be delivered, really, just to kick that off. They're very, very beautiful, like a clear birch with glass. So it'll be very welcoming when people come in that front door to go into that space.
It'll be so much nicer than that window.
Yes, I think it'll be a very nice upgrade.
We should auction that off.
The fitness center equipment should be in the first couple weeks of August. In order to get it in and out safely, we're actually replacing the door, the double door in the back of the fitness center that actually has a sign on it right now saying this is not a door.
I'm like, what is it then? It's not.
So that space will be generally refreshed. It's actually quite clean and tight right now, but there are a couple other things that we're doing to make sure that it looks great when the new equipment goes in. Areas of the access bridge we'll talk about later, but we finally got the permits approved. We have a bid, we issued a bid request, and now you guys are gonna get to review that. Culverts 22 and 24, design is going forward. The design should be finished and the permit applications will be submitted out after that, but of course we won't be doing any construction until next year. Are there any other questions or comments?
Well, overall question, I heard we lost your manager and
Rec manager, Kyle?
rec manager.
Yes, he was recruited away, he was offered a really good position, and he took it. Kyle has been here for 3 years, he's done good work down here. Currently, Nicole Jones is, has been the assistant manager since last year. We appointed one of the senior guards to the head lifeguard position, and we've added additional front desk staff hours to support her. Additionally, I'm meeting with her a couple times a week, and our office manager is partnering with her on all events. So we've covered it, and we will be recruiting to fill that opening.
Thank you.
There's a question too about, it says begin hiring process to fill maintenance department openings.
Yes, the foreman position has been filled, that just happened. And one of our maintenance workers resigned his full-time position so that he could take care of his new baby. And
No issues.
yeah, so we're
Okay, just
we
curious.
have an opening to fill.
Any other questions? Ray?
Where does 22 and 24 Culver, where's the location?
I don't remember, I'm sorry, it was in the original memo. I think they're on Pole Park, actually, Pole Park Drive.
All right.
Very quick, I just want to say how much I appreciated Kyle. He was very helpful, and we had a lot of fun trivia nights with him, so wish him well.
Yeah, we wish him luck in his new endeavors for sure.
I'd like to say Nikel's does a great job of responding to emails, she's very attentive.
Nicole's great.
Yes, she is.
Kyle wasn't so much.
All right, let's move on to Joel, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, great. We'll move on to financial statements. Joel?
Okay, let me share the screen. Everyone can see this, the financial statement?
Very
Yeah.
fun. It's hard to read, though. Make it bigger or
It's on
something?
chart.
There you go. That's better. Can everyone see that or no?
Well, the good thing is we're going to move on from this page anyway, so I'll try to make this as brief
Keep
as
telling us
possible.
what page you're on so that we can follow you.
Okay, in the packet, I believe you're on page, I'm looking at my sheets. Dan, can you see what page this balance sheet is in your packet?
Page 1 of the financial statement, which is page 11 in the packet.
Let's see if we can. No, it doesn't say it on the. He's starting.
Go ahead, Joel. You're good.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to be covering the April 2026 financial statements. Normally I'd be covering this at the first board meeting of the month, which was canceled, so that's why we're doing it this week. So these financial statements always start out with the balance sheet, but like I said, I'll keep this as brief as possible since I know tonight's obviously going to be a long meeting. The good thing with the balance sheet is there's no real huge adjustments or changes going on with this, so we can just go ahead and skip ahead right to the income statement. You can see right here, so I'm looking at this third column from the very right, right here, year to date, April 30, 2025, 4 months ending. We'll just go ahead and focus on this line right here, the operating net income amount. This 144,000. Sorry, I'm on the wrong year. We go to. Okay, now we're looking at the 4/30/2026 financial statements. So I'm going to go ahead and focus on this net income number right here. You can see the operating net income for the 4 months ending at the end of April 30, 2026 is $375,935, as opposed to at the end of 4/30/2025, the statements that were actually just up there, as opposed to the ending at that period, 144,723. So we're doing far better at the end of April 2026 and at the end of April of 2025. You can see right here that we were better than budget at the end of April 2026 by 141,000. At the end of April of 2025, we were better than budget by just a little over 5,000. The collection rate, as you know, we budget for a 95% collection rate in 2026, just like we did in 2025 and the year before that and the year before that. But so you can see that the collection rate at the end of April 30, 2026 is 95.8%. Looking a month ahead from April, so at the end of May 2026, it dipped down just a little from 96.5% to 96% in terms of at the end of April 2026, like I said, 95.8%. At the end of April 2025, it was 96.5%, so a little higher. Now, these numbers, I'll just share them again real quick since these are, so in terms of the collection rate, like I said, since we budgeted for 95% for the entire year, if we finished out the year at 96%, so just to put this in perspective, so 1% over 95%, that would mean that operations would take in an additional $32,088. Surf would take in close to 15,000 extra. Roads would take in close to 15,000 extra also. Mailboxes would take in an additional 265. And then obviously if we finished at 97%, then you could double those numbers, 98% triple, 99% quadruple, and at 100% you could quintuple those numbers.
So before we leave this page, I'd like to point out just a couple of things from an operational perspective. Revenue is overall quite strong comparatively, and we owe a great deal of that to golf having such a fast start this year. These are the April statements. In June, there was a little bit of a stumble. The heat in June actually discouraged some people from golfing, and so we had pretty flat revenues for June. But I want to draw your attention to other income. One of the components of other income is the payment of new construction fees, which are actually quite significant and are budgeted for the year to be a significant portion of the income. We're behind and we're not going to catch up because we have about half of the number of new construction projects that we typically have in a year. We've vacillated between 21 to our peak year. I think we had 26 new starts. This year we have less than 10, and that's going to affect our fees. Along with that, we're spending less on our contractor who does AC inspections and works with builders. So that does help to offset it, but it's still an area of revenue that, we just can't make it up. There's no way to make it up. And I draw your attention to that because it's something that we are trying to accommodate in other areas.
Can I just make one comment, and I think that's a good point you make, Joanne, and I think as our community is what it is, at some point you're gonna run out of lots to build on anyway. And so to depend on the builder's fee for the far out into the future, I don't think is realistic, and I have to figure out how to overcome that.
Yeah, that's good.
Sorry, sorry to interrupt the flow, Joel.
I don't know. I guess one little bright note about the other income category is at the at the end of April 30, 2026, it does have an additional $4,550 in it for annual rental registration fees collected.
Good point.
Now the revenue to expense ratio or expense to revenue ratio which is just simply I'm just taking total expenses and dividing it by total revenues right here. So for April of 2026 is 79.7%. Of course, the interesting thing about that number, that just means for every dollar of revenues that you took in, you had 79.7 cents of expenses. In terms of the 79.7%, like I said, at the end of April 2026, at the end of April 2025, it was 91.4%, obviously, because at the end of April 2025, we had less operating net income. March of 2026, it was 75.8%, so fairly kind of similar to April of 2026. We'll just, I'll just go ahead and, on this reserve cash balance sheet, just skipping down to the bottom line number of this, obviously it's showing your major funds, surf roads, mailboxes, the three main components of the capital dues amounts that show up in your monthly dues. And you can see the net usable cash at the end of 12/31/2026. Obviously, this is after the board recommended carryover balance of $600,000 for surf and $500,000 for roads, which is just like I've said in prior months, just the amount that the board would not like to drop below. But you can see that you have for surf $3,090,072 in terms of. At the end of April of 2025, we had 2.62 million, so obviously surf is up. Roads, we have just a little over 2 million, close to 2,040,000. At the end of April of 2025, we had 1.46 million, so roads is up as well. Mailbox, we don't have any expenditures going out of this, so it's at the end of last year, it's 178,000. Obviously, the difference to go to 204,000 would be all the dues collected and some interest. And then UDR, you can see we're sitting at 337,000 at the end of April 2026. At the end of April 2025, we're at 358,328. So a little bit down. And once again, these are what really affects us is a component of what has been obligated so far. This, like for example, obligated expenses, 888,000, close to that, and you can just go right to the capital report and there's that 887,868 from SERP. And obviously I've covered this capital report month to month in terms of what makes that up. It's just the leftover amount that the board is obviously obligated that we haven't yet written total text for all these projects. And the same thing for roads right here. You can see the obligated 1.7 million. And there's the 1.7 million as well for there. And also UDR, the 25,855. You can see the two projects that were approved in 2026, the bylaws, rules, and regulations for Wakaya and community survey and support. And then you can see that 25,855 of obligated funds still left to be spent on UDR. Obviously, these will drop off, I believe, next month when Joanne submitted that memo to the board to remove these UDR projects as well. Now, see, we just go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and skip ahead to the year-to-date income statement again, which is just breaking this down now by income statement. We'll just hit this last page and that'll be it. You can see once again there's that $375,935 in operating income. We'll focus on golf. Joanne mentioned golf already. You can see at the end of April 30, 2026, like I said, this is a year-to-date report. We have actual revenues of $455,045. At the end of April of 2025, year-to-date, they had $370,793. So revenues is up for the 4 months year-over-year by $84,252. Total expenses, which is just this this actual salary benefits, just salary and benefits right here, close to 231,000. And all other expenses right here, 197,536. Those two combined come out to golf has expenses of 428,526. At the end of April 2025, they have 408,346. Expenses are up by 20,180. But obviously, we expect that with the increase in especially salaries, just right there alone, and just cost of other things. But the bottom line for golf is you can see that golf has a net income at the end of April of 26,519. At the end of April of 2025, they actually had a net loss of 37,553. So they're up by 64,000, a little over 64,000 year over year. Now, Marina, I guess we quickly talk about this real fast. You can just see that actual revenues for Marina, 238,805 for the year, as at the end of April 2026. The end of April 2025, they had 224,000 rounded, so their revenues are up by a little over 15,000. Obviously, this is due to like increase in fees for the most part. And you can see that basically net income 231,703 for Marina. The end of April 2025 is 214,145, so they're up close to 18,000. But I would say that those are pretty much the big highlights of the financial statements for April. If anyone had any other questions on these, Linda.
Okay, I only got one. So we're going to go to your capital projects report, please, for April. And in April, we did the Barn 8 refurbishment to where we were going to deobligate funds.
Yeah.
We put in there that the board approved 203,436, closed it out and left a balance of $0. That does not reflect the $621,094 that was returned to CERF. And the bottom of the page, you have only $887,655 left. You should have $1,508,749 left if you had shown that we returned $621,094, which is in the memo.
Yeah, I mean, basically you can see in here the board approved dates. So these are all the different dates where the board makes approval adjustments to things. This very last one is April 9th, as you know, of 2026, deobligated it. So all the leftover funds were subtracted from the board approved obligation amount.
But you put that the board approved only 203,000.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, that's what it is. Since the board deobligated all the funds left over.
Then where do you demonstrate that we returned $621,094 in unused funds?
Just essentially from the fact that this amount has been decreased. But I mean, mathematically, what's the issue with this? I mean, like
the whole point is we go from having 1,246,000 left at the end of March to only 87,500 at the end of April, even having have put back 600,000.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. That's the difference. Yes, it does. I mean, like let's just say originally, just keep this with just straight numbers. Let's just say the board approved originally $1 million for this project, and then we spent 100,000 of it. Now we have $900,000 basically left to spend. Then if the board made a motion, let's deobligate the rest of that 900,000. Then 900,000 became deobligated. So then the board really only approved what was spent, which would be 100,000 at that point. That's why it's paired back to that amount.
But we haven't put any of that money back anywhere. It's all just disappearing into space.
If it's deobligated, then if I go back to this sheet right here, the reserve cash balance sheet, then the amount that's obligated gets reduced by that, which then mathematically increases this bottom line of what's available at the end of the year.
But I know, but it's not increasing it, it's decreasing it.
No, it's it's increasing it because this number used to be higher before I basically pared back that amount. So when I reduce this amount, then this number down here goes up.
It's going down.
No,
You're
it's going
saying
up.
there's nowhere, then will you explain why you have $1,246,113 left at the end of March? And now at the end of April, you have less than $1 million, you only have 800,000.
Because I did exactly what the board said, which was to deobligate the unspent portion of that barn 8 refurbishment.
Yeah, Linda, we would expect that number to go down because the capital projects report is an itemization of obligated funds. And we deobligated funds, so it will go down.
Then where are you gonna show that we still now have an additional $621,094
They return to
floating
the
around?
balance of SERV fund, which is reported on the page that Joel was just showing.
I'll take a look at that, because I can look at that from the month before too. Thank you, but it really is kind of confusing, because it doesn't really show that we deobligated anything.
Well, I mean, like this balance right here, this balance of obligated funds, as you pointed out before, the month before that was higher because that was before the board made the motion to deobligate the unspent portion of.
That's right, and we had all that money left over, and we still have all that money left over. We
Yeah.
just have to go find out where it's written at.
I mean, so since that,
You'll have to go back to that other report and look and see, is there that much difference between the 2 months? Because there should be that exact
We want
amount.
to see where the money is.
Yeah, that's all.
I have a question, Bill.
sure, yeah.
On the next page, over on UDR reports, open projects, you still show Area Z mitigation open. I think Linda asked to have that thing closed. It was back from 2016.
We have to wait for the June financials for that.
Yeah, these, I can't remember if it was May or June when that capital request went through to the board to close these projects. Do you remember, Joanne, off the top of your head, which one of those?
Sorry, I don't remember.
But when those monthly financial statements come out, you'll see all that drop right off. Yeah.
Very good, I'll look for it. You have several old projects, 2023 street pavement marking, that's.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all gonna be closed out?
Are you talking about back here in SUR?
Well, back over, back in SUR, first one on 2023 street pavement markings, it shows open. It's like, well, all right, why?
Let me see which one.
2024 on-call engineering, oh wait, that's.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Matter of fact, on the next capital report that'll come out, you'll see all of these closed out projects will drop right off.
Good, I'll look for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then where's
Any other questions? All right, Joel, thank you very much, sir.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, moving on to committee reports. Daniel?
I think we covered me pretty much, but.
How's your flow going, work-wise and stuff?
It's picking up, getting some weird ones, but, the good news, despite all of this, we have a, gentleman that wants to join us. Matt Griscom, he just moved here a little while ago, I think he's renting right now, but, he is looking to buy, or I think he's building right now. So I think we're looking,
What was his last name?
Griscom, Griscom.
And
He's been to some of these meetings before.
He's been vetted or stuff?
Yeah, actually, he was referred to me from somebody in the office, so I assumed he was at this point.
Don't you have to be an owner to be,
Yeah.
don't you have to own property?
He owns property, he's renting one.
He's building,
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so he has to be vetted through the office first.
Our process is that if an application for a committee comes in through the website, Carmen checks it and if the person is approved, then it's sent to the committee.
Oh, so you got it. Okay, so then it has been vetted.
He
What was his
actually,
last name again?
Griscom.
Griscom, Giro.
He's got to have one of our Tuesday tours with us, and he's stuck around, he's very eager.
He's got obviously builder knowledge.
I guess to the extent that he's getting a house built right now, so he.
We're all experts.
Uh-oh.
I think he seemed very eager, and he just wanted to be a part of the community, and for some reason, he gravitated toward the ACC, despite it all.
Great.
All right, do you want to make a motion then?
So
motion, I'll make a motion. I'd like to appoint Matt Griscom to the ACC committee.
Second.
You can have it, Linda.
Thank you.
Sorry, we heard all that.
That's Linda.
All in favor?
he was actually here a little while ago.
He was here?
Yeah.
We got more. All right, approved.
Hopefully you still wants to.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
Okay, moving on next to document review, Linda?
You will see the efforts of document review under 8A below. That's all I have to say.
All right.
We've been busy.
Yeah.
Jean, Finance Committee?
Yeah, we had our meeting last week, we did talk about the Area Z Bridge, which we approved. There was a little bit, we did talk about, a little bit about the money and how it was on a sheet where the permitting and design, it was supposed to be $131,000, but it looks like, from what I could tell, it ended up being $405,000, which is okay, because the fund itself was 1.2 million. But having said that, approving Area Z Bridge will take from Culvert 4 Bridge probably, and so when Culvert 4 comes up, we'll just have to figure out how to deal with that one. So we've discussed that a bit. And then the other thing that was discussed in the meeting was a volunteer committee or a volunteer line on the budget, and I think Bob Livingston brought that up. And there was some discussion about that. What I didn't realize before then that I found out afterwards, talking to Ken and Tiny, is actually Tiny has a proposal in for a volunteer committee, and it's quite well done. I asked for it so I could see it, and I guess it was last June was submitted. And I asked to see it, and she's got quite a bit of detail in it, and so at some point, because Tiny's effort with this, because there was another person that wanted a volunteer sort of committee or volunteer process, not committee, but a volunteer process, that it would be nice to take it up and look at it at some point. So in our committee, it was actually turned down, but now we've got 2 people that are talking about it, and we've actually got a sort of a outline for a policy that we might be able to discuss that Tiny created. So those were the 2 things that went on in our finance committee.
Thank you, Jean. All right, long range?
We didn't have a meeting because we are looking forward to doing the survey town hall on the 30th. So we thought it's a lot going on. So we did cancel our meeting. But hopefully people will come down for the town hall.
All right, very good. Rob, nominations and elections?
Yeah, things are really ramping up within our committee. We have spent quite a bit of time working on revising our ND manual. We want to thank the document review and Joanne, because much of what we needed to revise has to do with the new state law and its revisions and what's upcoming, and ensuring that electronic voting is recorded in the manual. So soon, the board will have an opportunity to take a look at it and hopefully approve it. I also want to reiterate again, please, community, opt into electronic voting. It's much more efficient. It will save our association money, and it is very secure. Our next meeting is Monday at 6:30 on Zoom. We are going to be taking one last look at, Carmen did a great job of giving us comparable files to look at the and Emmanuel, to make sure that we didn't miss anything. And then we're gonna talk a lot about the upcoming candidate forums. We want to have the first forum via the live stream, so that people who do not live in Sudden Valley, or they live out of the country, other places in Puget Sound, that they have an opportunity to listen to the candidates and make some informed decisions, because this would probably be about a week before the printed materials go out. And the online voting will also should go, yes, I believe they do, I want to say believe, to go back and look at the contract. Last year, the online voting went on at the same time that the out of country printed materials were printed. What else? Just a lot going on. I'm gonna be out of the area from August 25th through September 21st. And the committee has graciously stepped up so that we'll have all the things that we need to do are gonna be covered. Linda will be chairing the meeting which will open the candidate applications. We have all that in place. We have a good process. Also, I want to say on the candidate forums questions, we got really good feedback from the candidates last year that they want to have interaction with the community. And if during a forum, if we pass around a box and everybody just fills out a piece of paper and says, these are the questions, then you've got a process of how do you filter certain things that may not be a question that we want to, ask. People could write down anything. One of the things that we talked about, and I think Joanne gave us a great idea, was what if we were to solicit a number of questions and put it out there as a survey and let the community weigh in and say, these are the top issues that I think are important that I would like a candidate to weigh in on. That way there's kind of a blend of people having an opportunity to ask their question, but also getting away from, because I'll admit, the last year was a structured interview. We basically conducted those forums the same way we do when somebody applied for an open seat. Those are structured interviews. I think in that case, as a candidate applying for an open seat, it is a structured interview by the board. So we're trying to detract from that and make it more community having an opportunity to weigh in. So we'll be talking more about that on Monday as well. Nothing's been fully decided. We'll figure it all out. That's enough for me because it's good anyways.
Excellent, well, thank you, appreciate the update.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to committee business. We already took care of that, so do we have any other committee business? No? All right, we're going to new business. Item number 8A, request for approval for code revisions to SVCA bylaws. Holy smokes.
Well, now, you mean you didn't read them?
I did,
I did.
twice.
I was gonna say, I am just about, have bleeding eyes, let me tell you. So, the summary you found in front of you, I started to write this and I tried to go originally with what Joanne had done in the views a long time ago. And I realized I'd be hopping all over the place trying to cite the RCWs. So what I opted instead was to go through article by article of our bylaws and try to show what changes, are affected by Wakaiwa and what aren't, mostly what are. It's the easiest way, it's just a summary, it's to get them started at this. For instance, Article 1 is basically, it's like our definitions of who and what we are and how we're described. We are no longer members, we are now owners. We don't own lots, we own units, so we are lot owners, owner lot. And it's like, some of this is simple, some of it's more complicated. Like in Article 2, I actually copied a summary of each one of these things that just are changed. And it's like, it's a way for you all to get started. If if the membership needs to approve this, we need to put it on the AGM ballot to be voted on. If this is rejected by the membership, our bylaws stay the same. However, state law says if there's any conflict between your bylaws and state law, you must follow state law. So the longer we go without getting the votes that we need, the 2/3 majority to change these, the longer and the harder it will be, not just on this board, but on boards in 2027, in 2028, no matter what we do, and if we don't change the rest of our bylaws, Wakiowa goes fully into effect, and there will be no, I forgot, there's no forgiveness. It's like it becomes the law, and this is what you do. And the board that's here on January 1, 2028 should know that. Wakiowa, if I'm not mistaken, and Joanne would have to reinforce this, I think is 197 pages long. And you read it a few pages at a time, and then you read something, you go, wait a minute, and then you go back and you reread what you read before because now it makes sense. Oh, let's try this. I'm hoping, we're supposed to have a town hall. Joanne reminded me when we said we were gonna do this.
I have it written down on my desk, but the process is, once the board hopefully approves these draft revisions, we will post it with a method for members to submit comments.
Because actually, this is a new requirement of Wakiowa.
Right, so we're
Welcome,
practicing,
everybody.
we're practicing for that. And then a town hall meeting is planned where we will, a group of people, whomever, present the summary of information and talk about the comments that were received and any subsequent revisions that were made to the bylaws based on the comments. And then after that, if our revisions need to be revised, then the committee document review would vote to approve that, and then it would come back to the board to be approved, and then it goes on the ballot. It's gonna be a massive ballot packet because the entire red line has to go in.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
has to be.
And by law, we must include a summary of the changes as well. So this is a draft of what will appear in the ballot eventually.
Expensive mailing.
Yeah, and that was taken
Very expensive
into account.
Please, electronic.
Yes.
You know, that's why we've said, and even for us to do return ballots that they pay for, that price is going up. I think it went up as the 1st of June or 1st of July. You know, so it's like, I hope we can get this done.
So ratification is 2/3 of the entire owners or
2/3
2/3
of the
voting?
people voting.
Okay. That makes.
Which is-
Of the
which
people
is-
voting.
Yes, of the people voting.
Okay.
So it's quite possible for us to do this.
Yes.
One of the longest standing things that's in here for change is about our dues and assessments, which we don't have dues and assessments anymore. We only have assessments.
Oh, really?
Yes. The term dues is gone.
Huh.
It's just assessments and special assessments.
We're needing special assessments.
Well, but anyway, I'm saying that there's changes like this that's just language. Back in 2018, when Wakiowa changed our voting thing, where it's like, you have to vote, the membership votes to reject the budget by an overwhelming percent of all members of the association. That was put as a teeny tiny footnote at the bottom of the page. And last year at the end of the AGM, people were just outraged. And I want to thank Michael Bennett, who was willing to say, no, you vote by Wakiowa. No matter what our bylaws say, you have to do what is the law by Wakiowa. And the longer we wait to change this, the more it's going to be a detriment to the association. So I'm hoping that at that town hall, I can convince people, please vote for this, because the longer it stays just unchanged, the harder it's gonna be for any board moving forward in this association and the members to understand what's going on.
Rob?
Yeah, thank you. I'm just gonna reiterate build on what Linda said, because I totally agree with her. We need to explain to our neighbors why these bylaw revisions need to be accepted. Kind of what's the case for it, that some people may have emotional feelings about it. It's that ship sailed, it's out past the 50-mile radar. And it's only gonna get harder and harder. I see this as probably, for the next couple of years, as the largest issue that our association is going to be undertaking, is how do we how do we roll into these new requirements, and having people understand them. I've been kind of listening in on document review since the beginning of spring, and I'm still learning stuff about it, and I would say there's a couple of people here are experts in it. With that, I have a question. If in 2028 we do not change our bylaws, then do we have no bylaws and then we just have state law? Is that, did I hear, no?
No, it's just that if there is a conflict, the state would rule. So the biggest challenge is that most members of the association, who are no longer members but are instead owners,
Yeah.
owners,
Unit owners.
Rely on the bylaws to understand how the association operates.
Right.
And they are continually, if we don't update the bylaws, they would continually be confused as to why we're operating in a different way.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so that's why we took this on a year early, because if the changes here are approved at this year's election, that's 2027, they could come into effect, or we could vote to have them come into effect on January 1st, 2028, that's another thing to decide, but the point is, we get a do-over. If they don't pass this year, we get one more try next year to explain to more people why it's important that they pass. And so to have the bylaws in conflict with the state would be chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what I'm hearing you say is some people might say, well, I'm just gonna ignore those requirements to a point where you can't ignore them. And then you're gonna be wondering why we are operating under the state law to be compliant, and they're looking at old requirements that no longer are valid.
Right, well, on a daily basis, one of our owners will tell me that I'm wrong about something, or that's not legal or something, and they're wrong.
Yeah.
But how could they expect to understand this ridiculous complexity?
Right.
It is, and it's very complex.
Right, and that would be magnified.
And the thing is, even now, today, our bylaws, there are changes that were effective as of January 1 of this year. Says nothing about it in our bylaws, and it won't until we change it. That's the only thing, and that's the only thing actually I don't understand. If it's state law, to me, I should say, here, I'll write state law in here, the board will approve it, and that's it, because it's state law. You go, no, you have to, and even what Iowa says, no, you have to change your own
Yeah, see
bylaws.
state law.
Daniel?
Yeah, I just want to be clear about what this project is. So you're adjusting our current bylaws
Yes,
to adhere to Iowa,
yes,
and you're gonna put that up we're voting on that this
Yes.
fall. Will that be, I mean, if it passes, will that be the end of it, and then our bylaws will be updated for?
until January 1, 2028. And you got a whole bunch more stuff that you have no idea, but
Well, Richard updated these bylaws to reflect
That's
what
our
would be.
council, legal counsel.
Richard Davis would, to be accurate as of 2028. There are many elements of Ukiah, to Linda's point, that are not addressed in our bylaws. They're more operational, and first things first, let's get this done, and then we can take a look at our operating practices and understand which of those have to be updated in order to be compliant with Ukiah. For example, there is nothing in this document about the need to supply resale certificates.
And yet, that is a requirement of Kiowa that comes into effect on January 1st, 2028.
No, June, I'll send you the,
Okay, whatever, it comes into
I know.
effect. Resale certificates we're gonna have to hire another person to prepare them. Yeah, and they will be a requirement. So it's dramatically changing the way we operate in order to comply. But the bylaws, as Richard has said, that they are revised to meet the requirements for January 1st, 2028, unless the legislature changes something.
Right.
And Joanne,
in the
are we?
meantime, you're gonna,
But hold on,
I just want to get the definition. Resale certificate, that's where if I sell my house, the buyer gets a full disclosure of the association's financial statement? Is that what that is?
Yes, there's several pages in Kiowa that detail the specific items that have to go in. A small number of those can be prepared in advance. For example, we include a copy of the most recent reserve study. But most of the required items for inclusion in the resale certificate have to be figured out at the point when the certificate is requested. And I estimated when I went through this a couple months ago that it would be between 500 and 600 pages in the resale certificate. So we're not talking about just a few documents. It is a massive undertaking, and we can charge for it, but we're limited to only charging $250 for it.
yeah,
So when we looked at how many properties turned over in a year and how many we would have to supply, the amount of work would probably be another full-time person, so.
It's more than $250.
I wonder how fast it'll be before someone on the national scale comes up with software to be able to knock that out and sell that software. I mean, I'm speculating, because if everyone has to do it, it's gonna be such a time crunch.
Well, it's a Washington thing now, it's not a national thing.
That's correct, but what's happening here all came out of Florida. It's rolling across the country.
All over buildings with water
Interesting.
working on.
Okay, do we have any more questions about this?
I would like to point out a couple of key changes that the board should be aware of. Meetings, quorums, voting, that's stuff that we've adopted as of this year, so that's familiar to everyone. There are a couple of changes under the board of directors, especially around borrowing and special assessments. One of the biggest changes, I believe, in my opinion, is in the officers section, and sort of committees. We have had an executive committee. The primary purpose of that executive committee was to be able to come together and give direction in emergencies when the board could not be convened. That is no longer a practical thing we can do under Kiowa. Kiowa gives specific instructions around defining what constitutes an emergency and how the board can be quickly convened in order to address that emergency. So that the board could, I suppose, choose to delegate that authority to a committee, but instead, we're suggesting that the executive committee become the executive work group and allow the board to have that authority to act in an emergency. This executive work group would not be required to hold open meetings, prepare minutes, have a set schedule of meetings, all those requirements that we're so familiar with, so that the executive work group could continue to organize the board and the agendas and that important work, but it would not have the ability to make those emergency decisions. That would be handled very differently. So I think that that's a major change for the board itself to consider.
it's on page 20 if you need to look at it, guys, bottom of the page.
Yeah, so anyway, to me, that's a major thing. And there will be many practices that change, but in terms of our bylaws, we've already done a big chunk of them this year, and now we're just catching up, and then there's that committee change. So the way that the red line is set up is we use track changes to show any change from the original document, and all of the changes that are required by Kiowa are just in track changes. But there were a couple of changes that were approved by the committee that are over and above what's needed for Kiowa, and those are highlighted in blue. I tried to find a color that wouldn't make us all go blind, but I don't know that I accomplished that. And you can see the numbering in the revised document, it's page 27 and 28. Those were, the committee voted on these changes for the finance committee, I think, and then
Page 20 has one on too for the treasurer.
yeah, and the committees is a big section of our,
Yeah.
yeah.
But not to further define committees and what type of committees they are.
Right, so those are important things for the board to know about how to read this document, okay?
What was blue highlight again, Joanne, sorry?
Those are changes that the document review committee approved or as suggested revisions, but they are not required by Kiowa.
Okay, thank you.
So the board does not necessarily have to do all its wordsmithing now. This will be posted, as we said, for comment from the community, but we do have to finalize it prior to the election, and we'll publish a schedule in the views that's gonna come out next of all the different communications that'll take place around this, and then we'll all see that what the deadlines are for refining this and making sure it's as good as we can make it.
Do I need a motion to move on this draft?
Yeah.
So I would move the board approve the draft summary and bylaw revisions presented this evening in the agenda.
Second.
Who had the timing? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
I want to thank you all, you have no idea.
Thank you.
Well, what, thank you guys.
Thank you. That's amazing. And it's not even over.
No, it's not over, it's not even over, there's still tons of work to be
I
done.
can't imagine the things that flash in your eyes when you close your eyes.
Well, it's just sometimes, especially when I got to, Joanne sent back the final, after we met at our final meeting and said, we want to move this to the board. And I had to force myself to, okay, you have to open this document, you have to look at all this other stuff. Then I'd have to go back and look at all the revisions we've done and go, yeah, that's what we did. I was like, oh, wait a minute, is that, and just the back and forth is just, and the red lines, because you get to where you can't see where it's lined out anymore.
Several times I had to stop reading and
Yeah,
just
it's just,
turn away.
yeah, it is, it's just, it's a lot, makes your eyes bleed, not truly. All right, I'm done.
We're moving on to request for approval for the easement for 4 Midnight Court, find that on page 20, if your page is in Joanne, sorry.
Thank you. So yeah, as Keith mentioned, we are requesting approval for granting a stormwater dispersion system and landscaping easement across green space owned by SVCA. The property is 4 Midnight Court, and the owner has requested an easement to install a stormwater dispersion tank and a rock retaining wall that goes across Sun Valley owned space. The owner received approval from the ACC on August 21st of last year to complete these exterior alterations, as well as a variance for the setback so they could build the retaining wall. The proposed easement was drafted by CSD Law following our template. In addition to the established fee of $1,500 for drafting and recording the agreements, property owner asked for some customization of the language, which added $250 in legal costs. So we're asking for you to approve a fee of $1,750. The customization was to have access for the repair of the retaining wall should it be necessary. The next page after the memo is a printout from the Whatcom County mapping software. It shows the parcel 29473, that's 4 Midnight Court, and that green area is the easement. What it's important to know is that's like the edge of this, and that all the trees that you see there, which look kind of scary from the air, those are a big park space. So it's not infringing on a lot, or it's quite a big area, so I wanted to make sure we put a map in so you could get that. And then it's just the standard language. So my request is that the board of directors approve the proposed easement for 4 Midnight Court and approve a fee of $1,750 to cover legal fees, recording fees, and administrative costs.
I'll move the motion and then discussion. Move that the SCCA Board of Directors approve the proposed easement for 4 Midnight Court and approve a fee of $1,750 to cover legal fees, recording fees, and administrative costs.
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, questions and comments? Linda?
I just wanna make sure, after some of the prior meetings we've had about people needing to bury and make, when they do their stuff over the easement, that they bury things and everything, that's all included, that they have to restore that to its prior, as much as they can, condition before they put all their piping in.
That's standard language in the easement.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because there has been such issue.
Yeah.
All I got.
Any other questions? Right?
We're voting on this just because it's going across Sutton Valley property?
Correct.
Okay.
I have a question, has anyone looked at the drainage, like where this is draining to, right? It's just open space.
Yeah.
Daniel, you guys good with it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, all in favor?
I
That's unanimous.
It's a pretty remote area of ours.
Thank you, Joanne.
We have another easement up next. This is for 190 Sudden Valley Drive. Originally, they had planned to connect to the sewer system through the right-of-way in front of the house, but the county asked that they connect through the back, which is through green space to previously installed sewer connection. But they're called a T or something where they connect, you know what that's called? Okay, did I get that right? Anyway, so it's very standard. It's the templated language, it's an established connection, it only crosses Sudden Valley land, it doesn't infringe on any other properties. And so I request that the Board of Directors approve the proposed easement for 190 Sudden Valley Drive and approve the proposed fee of $1,500 to cover legal fees, recording fees, and administrative costs.
I'll read the motion, we'll go from there. Move that the SVCA Board of Directors approve the proposed easement for 197 Valley Drive and a proposed fee of $1,500 to cover recording fees and administrative costs.
Second.
Thank you, Diane. Questions?
Doesn't say who the owner is, who the member is.
It's Arrow Homes.
Arrow Homes, LLC up top left.
Okay, it's up there on top.
Arrow Homes.
Arrow Homes LLC.
And it says on the first page of it.
First paragraph.
Is this a builder in good standing and grace with us?
This one, yeah. Yes.
Any other questions? All in favor? That's approved, unanimous. Okay. Now, this agreement paper is for the request for approval for Area Z Bridge, contract and award.
So before I dive in, I want to follow up on a suggestion that was made by Tom. He suggested that when we have copious pages like this, that I don't include it in the packet, that instead I give you all a link to it. I'm happy with that.
It would save us a ream of paper,
Yeah,
or several reams.
but I mean, people specifically request these things because they have trouble with the electronic versions of things, I guess. We do have to post the actual materials by law for the community, but I can do a different version for y'all if you want. So, if you wanna think about that and let me know.
I thought about that right when I picked it up, I was like, wait, this is a lot.
It was a 3-pound problem.
Anyhow,
I'm sure.
the purpose of this memo is to request approval of the award of the contract to Strumler Gravel for the replacement of the Area Z Bridge. On March 27th, 2025, the Board of Directors approved funding for replacement of the Area Z Bridge and culvert number 4, which is located on Polo Park Drive, There were numerous delays in the permitting process, but a final permit was received by Sudden Valley on June 12th of this year. Because of the watershed restrictions on large-scale soil disturbance, it is not possible to replace culvert for this year. However, there is adequate time to replace the Area Z Bridge. To ensure a quick turnaround, Sudden Valley issued a bid package, which is attached, to Sudden Valley's 3 on-call contractors. Because we have this ongoing relationship with them, they're more or less obligated to give us a bid. Although one of them didn't feel obligated. Quotes were received from 2 of the vendors. I recommend that the contract be awarded to Stremler Gravel as they were the low bidder. You can see that Stremler gave us a quote of $200,802.79. Strider Construction, $280,000, $280,596.10. One note about timing. As the work will be scheduled once the contract is awarded, so I can't tell you exactly when it would occur, but completion of this project will require restriction of access to the community garden that is located at Area Z. Specifically, there will be a 2-week window in which the only access to the garden will be on foot through a designated path leading to the garden from the maintenance entry. This is due to the fact that the old bridge has to be removed before the new bridge can be installed, so you don't want to get in that way. Access to the garden from the bridge, access to the garden from Honeycomb Lane will not be possible while construction is active. Because even when we start to put the old bridge comes off, so they can't be there then we have to prepare the foundational elements to accept the new bridge, blah, blah, blah. So we don't want anybody in that area, and that's the 2-week window. Hours of entry to the garden will also be restricted to ensure the safety of residents. So basically, when construction is happening, we don't want people to be walking through that area at all, because the large equipment will be moving back and forth. More details will be shared with the community when the specific construction dates are known. My point in bringing this up is to give people a warning in the community, and we will reach out directly once the contract is awarded to the members who rent in that area or are part of that community garden. But this must be done.
Have the lease ever signed?
No. This must be done, and it will impact them, but we have made arrangements so that they can access it. It will not be convenient, no matter when we do this. It will not be convenient, but we are doing the best we can to ensure that they retain access.
Is there still a point of contact for each of the gardens, like president of the garden area?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, as long as, bummer for them if they're harvesting pumpkins, but.
Question time, go ahead, Tom.
Does this work out down before the moratorium period starts?
We're aiming for that, but I don't believe it does, because the soil isn't being disturbed. The foundational elements that hold the giant bridge that's been sitting in Area Z for a year are there. We just have to connect
We
it.
don't have to do a bunch of.
Yeah. So total funding of $1,219,468 for this work was approved by the board in '25. At this time, $404,506 has been spent, leaving a residual of $814,962, demonstrating that there was more than adequate funding for the proposed contract. As our treasurer, Jean, pointed out, we still don't know what number 4 is gonna cost, because we haven't put it out to bid, culvert number 4, and that's all together with this funding. However, there is a residual, and it is lower than was budgeted for culvert 4, but there is no way to predict what it will cost, so I don't know how else to address this. Yes, so that's essentially what we're doing. So I request that the board of directors approve the award of a contract to Stremler Gravel for the replacement of the Area Z Bridge and authorize the general manager to execute SVCA standard construction contract for this work.
I'll read the motion. I move that the SCCA Board of Directors approve the award of a contract to Stremler Gravel for the replacement of the Area Z Bridge and authorize the general manager to execute SVCA standard construction contract for this work.
Second, Linda.
Thank you, Linda. Questions?
Stremler's still doing top-notch work. They've always had good company.
Linda?
So I went back and looked at all the stuff, I went back to 2024 and 2025, and we did not approve in 2025, 1,219,000. The bid was for, and this was for 2 bridges, $1,088,464.22 from roads to purchase and install 2 pre-engineered steel bridges. There was another part of that motion that had us authorize the general manager to execute contracts with Rapid Span for $121,000, and that was for the Polo Park Bridge. I don't know, and I know we have not taken delivery of that yet. As I understand, though, we already have contracted with the company to do that. Then we contracted with RTI for the bridge we have for the maintenance bridge for $134,368. That's $255,000 that we spent. I'm just saying, I think we really need to make sure, because when we talk, in this memo that we're writing now, it sounds like we're talking about one bridge. But when we originally did this, it was for both bridges, and I think we should really take a hard, have staff take a hard look at this and really see how much is really left there when we can get, is this bid even good with the one company that we evidently signed a contract with for the Polo Park Bridge? To go back and take a look at some of this stuff, that's all.
Okay, so to address your concern,
Okay,
I am working from the most current version of the capital project report, and it shows that for project 9924.6, which is described as Area Z Access Bridge plus Culvert 4 replacement, okay, with a bridge, there are 2 approvals of funding for that project. In February of 2024, the board approved design and permitting. In 2025, on 3/27, the board approved the construction costs for that project. So to date, we have spent just under $400,000, leaving the residual as cited in the memo. And we're asking for a subset of that to install the Area Z bridge. I acknowledge in the memo that we also, with that funding, must cover the replacement of Culvert 4 bridge, but we have not put that out to bid. There's no reason to put it out to bid because we can't do it this year, and we quickly need to install the Area Z bridge in order to do it this year. So,
Fine, man.
yeah, I mean, it's been sitting there, the bridge is, it desperately needs to be replaced, so.
oh, I know it does, and I'm ready to vote for it. I'm just saying, with the money we have left, because if I go back to your February 22nd, 2024 thing, we talk about the permitting cost for, it looks like just Area Z, where it talks about needing $131,000, basically $131,000. And it says, but the budget only includes $31,200 for the Area Z access bridge, a difference of $99,800, basically $804. On that memo, it says, we propose to take the needed extra $99,804 from the budget allocation designated for culvert replacement in 2024. And that's why I'm saying, somebody needs to look where we took money from.
Yeah, I
And
agree with that.
before
I would like to assure the board and the community, if they're listening, that at the end of every year, when we prepare the new budget, we true up to what has actually been spent. During a budget year, when we describe available funding, we say, this project came in under, so we're taking some of that money for over here. And it becomes very confusing and leads to exactly what Linda is saying.
It's just, let's make sure what we got
At the
here.
end of every year, so at the end of 2024, we were trued up to actual. In 2025, at the end of the year, again, we were trued up to actual. Now we're in 2026, and this year we have not spent all of the money that was budgeted because things don't always work out like you planned.
Absolutely.
Right? So at the end of this year, again, we're gonna true up. And I can tell you from taking the current financial report and capital projects report and understanding what our ending year residual will be for both surf and roads, we will have more money in those funds than our budget anticipated. And that's because of a number of decisions that were taken to reflect current circumstances. And again, all of the projects that we did not complete but still need to be done will be pulled forward and included in that budget. So no one ever said this would be easy, but we do address all of those things as at those intervals as I described.
Do I need to read the motion again? Are we ready to vote?
I think we're ready to vote.
All in favor of replacement of Area Z and
Aye.
general manager deliver contract?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
It is a complicated system though.
Unanimous. All right, make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:47 p.m.
Second.
Third.
Adjourned.
I'm taking that one.
Okay, Tyree.